you very much giving me an opportunity, inviting me for this evening class today. I'm sincerely grateful to His Grace Nimai Karuna Prabhu, who reached up to me, and His Grace Ramchandra Prabhu uh, for having me over here. Sincerely grateful for giving me this opportunity. Being in ISKCON and dedicated to the teachings of Srila Prabhupada and the Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta, we don't discuss much about Ramayana in ISKCON so much as compared to Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada said Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. And also Srila Prabhupada wanted us to discuss on the Bhagavad Gita during the evening hours. So mostly our teachings are in the Bhakti Shastri and in the Bhakti Vaibhav that we do is mostly based on Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and etc. And surely this topic of the lessons of Shabari, lessons from the life of Shabari, was itself, a transformational phase for my life to learn so many lessons from the pastimes of Shabari, based on the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, how our acharyas have given us so many wonderful things, so many wonderful lessons that we can learn. Firstly, I would like to express my gratitude to Srila Prabhupada, who has blessed us with such wonderful lessons that anything you are given, you can derive such beautiful things out of it and transform your lives. And by doing a homework on that, whatever time I had, I tried to come up with some lessons for my personal application in my personal life, as well as for all of your benefit. And if it pleases you, if it makes you happy, kindly bless me that I can also improve in my life and let these teachings from the life of Shabari please the Lord and make him happy, and please all of you as well. Let's begin with the prayers. I wanted to share one shloka from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Do I have the permission to share my screen, Prabhu? Drone Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, I can give you the permissions.
Or maybe if you like, you could also share the screen. This is Srimad Bhagavatam 9.11.23.
Okay, Prabhu.
I think that would be easier. It's one of the most famous shlokas from the Srimad Bhagavatam, giving the Falashruti of reading Ramayana or reading the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra, the characteristics of Lord Ramachandra. Perfect. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Okay, I'll recite the shloka 2 times, and maybe you all could recite with me when I'm reciting the second time. But then I guess there's no scope of back and forth. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam 9th Canto 11th chapter. The shloka is text number 23. Purusho Ramacharitam Shravanair Upadharayan Anrishamsya Paro Rajan Karma Bandhair Vimuchyate. I'll recite second time. Please try to recite with me. Purusho Ramacharitam Shravanair Upadharayan Anrishamsya Paro Rajan Karma Bandhair Vimuchyate. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. O King Parikshit, anyone who orally receives the narrations concerning the characteristics of Lord Ramachandra's pastimes will ultimately be freed from the disease of envy and thus be liberated from the bondage of fruitive activities. Purport. Here in this material world, everyone is envious of someone else. Even in religious life, it is sometimes found that if one devotee has advanced in spiritual activities, other devotees are envious of him. Such envious devotees are not completely freed from the bondage of birth and death. As long as one is not completely free from the cause of birth and death, one cannot enter the Sanatan Dham or the eternal pastimes of the Lord. One becomes envious because of being influenced by the designations of the body. But the liberated devotee has nothing to do with the body, and therefore he is completely on the transcendental platform. A devotee is never envious of anyone, even his enemy, because the devotee knows that the Lord in his supreme protector is his supreme protector. I'm sorry. He thinks, what harm can the so-called enemy do? Thus, a devotee is confident about his protection. The Lord says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante, tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. According to the proportion of one's surrender unto me, I respond accordingly. A devotee must therefore be completely free from envy, especially of other devotees. To envy other devotees is a great offense, a Vaishnava aparad. A devotee who constantly engages in hearing and chanting, Shravan Kirtan, is certainly freed from the disease of envy, and thus he becomes eligible to go back home, back to Godhead. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam panghum langhayate girim Yatkripa tamaham vande Shri Guru Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. So I would like to once again welcome all the devotees and like to seek the blessings of all the senior devotees over here, that they kindly bless me so that whatever I speak is what I've heard from the Parampara, and it will be pleasing to all of you. So this particular shloka of the Srimad Bhagavatam 9.11.23, it specifically discusses about the pastimes of the glories of hearing the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra. Somebody may question that, how is it that we are discussing the shloka of Lord Ramachandra and then we are going to discuss about the life and lessons from the from Shabari? How is it connected? Nectar of Devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami explains that Bhakti Rasamrita Srila Rupa Goswami explains that the Lord and his devotees are not disconnected. When you discuss about the glories of the Lord, it will naturally include the pastimes of the devotees. And when you discuss about the glories of the devotees, it naturally includes the glorification of the Lord as well. Because naturally, when you're discussing about the devotees, you automatically connect to the object of his worship, his Kula Daivata, and that's naturally Krishna, or Lord Ramachandra. One time, Srila Prabhupada was asked that, please give the class on the past, on the life of, on the day of Lord Ramachandra's appearance. And Srila Prabhupada began with the shloka, that beautiful shloka, Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Mananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayauvanam cha. Vedeshu Durlabhama Durlabham Atma Bhakto Govindamadi Purusham Tamam Bhajami. And another time he discussed Ramadi Murtishu Kala Niyamena Tishtan Nanavataram Akarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Parama Pumanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamam Bhajami. So, immediately whenever it is supposed to be discussed about Lord Ramachandra's pastime, we see Srila Prabhupada always would bring it back to Krishna and glorify from, glorify Lord Ram from that pastime. In fact, in the Srimad Bhagavatam also, when the discussion of Lord Ramachandra's pastimes comes in the 9th canto towards the end, when Shukadeva Goswami Parikshit Maharaj asked Shukadeva Goswami, please, describe about the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra. Shukadeva Goswami's immediate answer is that you already know. From childhood, you have been hearing about Lord Ramachandra's pastime. What more need is there to, make you hear of Lord Ramachandra? And then, within 3 or 4 chapters, he quickly, runs over the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra, in short. And in fact, in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is no description of Shabari. So, where does the pastimes of Shabari, they come into being? How do we know about Shabari? So, the solution, the reference for that is from the Valmiki Ramayana, as well as from other Ramayanas like Ramacharita-manas. So, Valmiki Ramayana is the original Ramayana, the Adi Ramayana, and given by Valmiki Muni. So Valmiki Muni describes about Shabari, but that too not in great detail. In short, he just runs over the pastime. Again, he doesn't go into much detail. Then where do we hear about Shabari in great detail? Again, one of the sources is Ramacharitmanas. But the problem is in Ramcharitmanas also in short detail is there. And I'm going to go ahead, describing our Shabari, and you'll be amazed to know that some of the most famous or heard things about, Mother Shabari is not available in Ramacharitmanas as well as in Valmiki Ramayana. Let us try to discuss where does the Shabari pastime come into being. So Shabari is one of the great devotees of the Lord. Last week we had a discussion about Hanumanji, and Shabari is another wonderful devotee. It is said, this Shabari, she was living in Kishkinda Kshetra, that is Pampa Sarovar. This is near South India and Karnataka, and the place where Lord Ramachandra met Sugriva and Hanumanji. So that is the place where Pampa Sarovar exists. So Pampa, in her last life, this Pampa Sarovar, the name comes from a personality called as Pampa. Pampa happened to be the daughter of Brahmaji, and she is an expansion of Parvati Devi. So surely, being an expansion of Parvati Devi, she was looking for her husband, Lord Shiva. And she came to this particular place in southern India, Karnataka, and she performed great austerities to please Lord Shiva. And being pleased with her austerities, Pampa was blessed by Lord Shiva that, I will accept you as my wedded wife. And thus Lord Shiva came to be known as Pampa Pati. A beautiful river flows in that area called as Tungabhadra, which is also, called as Pampa River, or sometimes it is also called as Pamba River, Pamba, not Pmpa. Sometimes it is called as Pmba also. In the southern accent, sometimes the pronunciation gets changed. So this whole area is called as Pampa Kshetra, also later called as Kishkinda Kshetra, where all the monkeys later resided. So Shabari, the famous devotee, she would live in this particular area. Now, how Lord Ram and Lakshman, in their journey, in their 14 years of exile, came over here. So we somebody's mic is okay. So uh, uh, so how Lord Ram and Lakshman came over here. So we know how Mother Sita, when all of them, three of them were at Panchavati, and I happened to be born in Nasik, and from in my childhood I had been to Panchavati, very beautiful place in this particular area of Nasik where Panchavati is there, and still the sanctity is maintained. If some of you must have, I don't know how many of you visited Nasik, but then a beautiful place to visit. And in case you would like to come for a pilgrimage there, there is a beautiful temple in Nasik called as ISKCON Nasik. Wonderful devotees live there, and they also take you for a pilgrimage. So this particular place where Mother Sita was abducted, kidnapped by Ravana in the guise of a sadhu. He came there, and when Lord Ram and Lakshman were taken away by his plan by Maricha, and Mother Sita was kidnapped and she was taken away, and all that she was remembering is the name of Lord Ram when Ravana was trying to abduct her. So she was taken away, and she just, while she was in the air, taken away by the Pushpaka Vimana, a particular kind of chariot, drawn by mules, which can also fly in the sky. She threw some of her jewelries while going in that direction. And on the way, know the beautiful place called as Taked, which is also part of Nasik city. That's the place where Jatayu attacked Ravana, and Jatayu was mercilessly killed. A lesson that even the devotee of the Lord, though may appear apparently a failure, is still a success story. And apparently Ravana was successful; he was killed at the end. So that's a beautiful lesson that we learn from the pastime of Jatayu. Jatayu fell there, and Ravana just went. Lord Ram and Lakshman did not know where is Mother Sita, and somehow Lord Ram in this beautiful pastime, presenting himself as a human, manusha leela that he's performing, he does not show as a Paramatma that I know where what is happening and how Ravana is kidnapped. He just appears to be showing that in separation of his wife, he's crying out, Sita, Sita, where are you? And in search for Sita, they start walking in the direction where they find some jewelry. And in that direction, they first come across Jatayu, and then later, while Jatayu tells that you go in the southern direction, Ravana is one personality who is one of the great asuras. He has kidnapped Sita, and you please go in the southern direction, you will find him. And then when they both of them start walking towards south, some distance across, quite far away, they have crossed Maharashtra and entered into Karnataka. There is a very dense forest, and suddenly they smell something very dirty and see some ill omens in the forest. So when they see these ill omens, they come across a very deadly and an ugly Rakshasa. And when they hear his voice, it appears apparently Lord Ram and Lakshman, out of fear, they start running away, and they ran almost 3 kilometers. 3 kilometers they ran in that direction, in other direction. But this particular Rakshasa, he had very, very long hands. His hands were almost 12 kilometers long. And his form was also very, very special. This particular Rakshasa, he did not have a head, he did not have a neck, he did not have legs. You can just imagine hands and a torso. And with this body, he's sitting there, and with long hands extending up to 12 kilometers, he stretches his hands and he catches Ram and Lakshman with his two hands. And he just, Lord Ram and Lakshman are trying to run away, but he catches them and squeezes them and pulls them towards him. And he's about to put it in his mouth. Now you'll ask, naturally, he doesn't have a face. Where is the mouth? So his mouth was located in his stomach. Wonderful, huh? Whatever you eat, there is no more throat problem, no more, the food doesn't have to go through the long process. Whatever you eat, it's directly going into the belly. and that's how you digest your food. So very, very interesting body that this particular Rakshasa had. Now you may wonder, what is the name of this Rakshasa? His name was Kabandha, the famous personality in Ramayana. So this Kabandha, he also, he captured, of course, he captured both of them. And Lakshman told Ram that, I think we are going to die. I will offer myself when we'll come in front of this particular Rakshasa. I will offer this Rakshasa that you eat me, leave Lord Ram, so that he can go on search of his wife Sita. Otherwise, everything will be destroyed. This whole exile, we'll never be able to reach back to Ayodhya. So Lord Ram says, no, 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 that's not required. We both should stay alive. And then Lord Ram comes up with a plan. He says that with our swords, which our hands are still free, we both will cut the hands of this Rakshasa. And that's how we can get release. And Lord Ram and Lakshman, they both, with great force, they cut the hands of this Rakshasa. As soon as they come in front of this particular Rakshasa, this Rakshasa Kabandha became very angry, but they both were successful in cutting his hands. Then Kabandha, interestingly, speaks in a very humble voice. He says, who are you? Of course, Kabandha knew about them, but he still asks, who are you? Please reveal your divine identity. But there is an etiquette. There is an etiquette that when a younger person is sitting in front of his seniors, he generally should not inquire about them. He should first explain about who he is and then inquire about the personality who is sitting in front. A very beautiful Vaishnava etiquette that we can learn. This comes recently. I was reading from the 10th canto where Muchukunda pastime comes. Srila Prabhupada in the Krishna book, while I was reading for our lordships here at ISKCON BC, Sinitai Gaurachandra, I was putting them to rest. I was reading from Krishna book and I read there very beautifully. Muchukunda also, when he comes in, when Lord Krishna gives him his darshan in that cave, Krishna is standing very beautiful. And Muchukunda gets up from that sleep after killing Kalayavana with the rage of his eyes. Muchukunda is asking that, please tell me, who are you? And he tells that, are you the supreme personality of Godhead who is appearing so beautiful? Are you some kind of demigod? But then Prabhupada writes there, it is an etiquette that when you're standing in front of a superior, first you should introduce about yourself and then inquire about the person who is in front. He starts telling about who I am, what is my identity. And then he asks the Lord, please tell about you. And then finally the Lord says that I am that Supreme Lord who has appeared as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. I am Vasudev, and things like that. He tells about himself. Very beautiful lesson. So Kabandha, here in this particular incident, he tells about his identity. Who am I? So he says that I was one of the, one of the great personalities. I guess he was one of the demigods because their identity was not revealed. He says that one rishi, actually I had prayed to Lord Brahma, and after doing tapasya, I had got a benediction that I will be able to live very long life. Getting that benediction, I became very arrogant, and because I had got such a blessing, I started attacking even the demigods and even great rishis. But then I attacked, because one of the rishis saw me in this particular mood. He cursed me that I curse you that you will lose your body and you will lose your head and your feet as well. You will get such kind of body basically. So immediately he falls flat at the feet of the rishi and asks for some way out. He says nothing doing. And then his anger, I mean, like his arrogance was still there. One time he appeared to be he also attacked Indra, and Indra became angry with him and he attacked this particular so he had got two times, one with the rishi and the curse from the rishi, and eventually attacked Indra also. Indra became angry with him and he cut off his legs and his head, but he was not dead because Brahmaji had blessed him to live long. So immediately he prayed. I don't know how he prayed. He didn't have a mouth at time, but he prayed to Indra that please arrange for my sustenance. How would I live? How will I sustain? So Indra blessed him that I arrange for a mouth in your belly, and he further asked for apologies. And Lord Ram and Lakshman, Indra said that in future you stay in this place Ram and Lakshman will come, and when they will cut your hands, you will understand that this is Ram and Lakshman, and you guide them because they will be asking you certain questions. So Ram and Lakshman now were standing in front of him, and Lord Ram says, "Yes, I am Ram, and he is my brother Lakshman." So immediately he asks that, please cremate my body. Now I have done my job. My life is over. I need to go to the heavenly abodes, being killed by you. So he says, yes, we will cremate your body, but please tell us, who is Ravana and where does he stay? So this, in return, this Kabanda says that I will tell you about Ravana, where in this direction is, but first cremate my body. So Ram and Lakshman arrange for firewood and they cremate his body. And as soon as his body was burned, a celestial being appears from this body, and he says that you please go in this direction, the southern direction. You will come across a beautiful place called as Pampa Sarovar, where Sugriva, a monkey, a very powerful monkey, is living. Please make friends with him. But before meeting Sugriva, you will come across an ascetic lady. Her name is Shabari. She's a tapaswini, she's a sadhvi, and she's the disciple of Matanga Rishi. So you please meet her, and she will guide you further how to meet Sugriva and what to do ahead. And immediately Kabanda, in his celestial body, he left for his higher abodes. And that is how, Lord Ram and Lakshman, they start traveling towards southern direction further, and they meet. They come to this Pampa Sarovar where Shabari was living. Interestingly, Valmiki Ramayana, what is mentioned in the Valmiki Ramayana about Shabari, I would like to discuss that, because that's Adi Ramayana, as I said, the first Ramayana given by Valmiki. So Shabari, when she saw Lord Ram and Lakshman coming there, she was in, she was feeling greatly elated. And she immediately ran towards Ram and Lakshman. She was very old by this time. She invites them with her sweet words and offers fruits and nuts, whatever is available in the forest. And she worships them. And after worshipping them, she requests the Lord that, please come around. I will show you this Pampa Sarovar, a very beautiful place. Let your beautiful lotus feet, my dear lordships, touch this beautiful land and get, that becomes purified. The land becomes purified. So Shabari was inquired by Ram and Lakshman that please tell, we have been guided here by, Kabandha, one of the Rakshasas on the way. Please tell us how to meet Sugriva. And Shabari immediately responds after this whole incident of showing around and everything gets over. When they are sitting in a peaceful place, Shabari tells that, interestingly, both you and my dear Lord, you and Sugriva, both of you are distressed. You both have lost your wife, and Sugriva has not just lost his wife, but he has also been thrown away from his kingdom by his brother Vali, who is having some demoniac tendencies. This Sugriva, he lives on the nearby mountain called as Rishyamukha Parvat, and you go there and meet him, and the further things will be revealed to you by Sugriva. He will help you fight Ravana and get back Mother Sita. So Shabari had in that way revealed the identity of Sugriva, and further things will happen. Now, interestingly, immediately as soon as she reveals about this, she requests Lord Ram and Lakshman that please give me permission. I would like to go back to my abode. And again, she tells about herself. She tells about herself, her history, that many years back, when you had come to Chitrakoot, almost 12-13 years back, many of the rishis taking your darshan, their lives got purified and they went to Tapaloka and Satyaloka. At that time, they told me that your life is not perfect. Please go southern direction and you will meet Matanga Rishi and stay under his care. Lord Ram and Lakshman will come there eventually and deliver you. So being blessed by all these sages, they both, she travels to the southern direction. She comes to Matanga Rishi's ashram, and she serves Matanga Rishi. She takes her permission, she serves him. Eventually, Matang Rishi's time also comes. He goes to his abode, Satyaloka, and like one of the Tapaloka, the Satyaloka, the higher abodes. And she later serves his advanced disciples, who also eventually pass on to their abodes, to the place where Matang Rishi is living. And Shabari asks them, how do I perfect my life? And they say, you stay here. Lord Ram and Lakshman will come here and you will get blessed by them. And now she says that my time has come, oh Lord Ram and Lakshman, please bless me so that I can also go there and serve my spiritual master and his advanced devotees, his advanced disciples. And with their permission, she sets up a fire, enters into that fire, and a beautiful form of her comes out from that, offering obeisances to Lord Ram and Lakshman. She goes to the heavenly abodes. Now, immediately, the question might come. The famous pastime we have heard about, Shabari, that Shabari had offered those Jhuta bear and everything. Where is that pastime? You didn't tell us. The pastime is over. This is the version of Valmiki Ramayana. So I was myself, put into, inquiry. Where is the pastime of Shabari, this famous pastime? So I have a friend of mine who is a great devotee of Lord Ram, who is our devotee, ISKCON devotee only. But before coming to ISKCON, his father was a great devotee of Lord Ram. So I immediately approached him and I asked him, please tell me, what is the narration of Shabari in Ramcharitmanas? Because from childhood, he has been studying that. So he immediately had his, as they say, pothi. In Maharashtrian language, they say pothi. So he opened his pothi and he read for me from Ramcharitmanas. You'll be amazed to know, even in Ramcharitmanas, the very pastime doesn't come. What comes in Ramcharitmanas? In Ramcharitmanas, same thing. Lord Ram and Lakshman, they come there. Shabari sees them. She's in great ecstasy. She runs towards them, falls at their feet, bathes their lotus feet with her tears of ecstasy, and then offers them kanda moola, not berries, kanda moola and fruits, and seeks for their blessings. And and here, interestingly, another beautiful thing that I learned from Ramcharitmanas was, Shabari presents herself as a very, very fallen personality. She says that, amongst the fallen people, I am from the Shabara caste, and the scriptures explain that the women class, doesn't carry so much buddhi, and amongst that I am the lowermost. And she just puts herself into such a humble position in front of Lord Ram that the Lord Ram's karuna immediately gets attracted to her, and he blesses her with beautiful teachings of Navavidha Bhakti that is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto by Prahlad Maharaj. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam. And Lord Ram tells Mother Shabari that any of these limbs, what is that? Smaranam Kirtanam, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Pada Sevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam, Iti Pumsar Pita Vishnu, Bhaktische Navalakshana, Kriyeta Bhagavati Yatta, Tanmanya Gita Muttamam. Even one of these limbs, if somebody practices with great Shraddha, he will get perfection of his life. Same teaching Lord Ram gives to Mother Shabari at this particular place. And then Shabari takes the blessings of Lord Ram and leaves for her heavenly abode. And I was put into question again, where is the very pastime? And then I came to hear about there are some local pastimes which are surely not out of parampara, because they are locally presented in the area of Ayodhya. And when it comes to pastimes of Shabari, let us try to discuss about that with whatever time we have. So I came to hear about the history about Shabari from some of the other sources. Who was Shabari in her last life? I'm sure you would like to know. So Shabari there was a king, a Gandharva king. His name was Chitrakavacha. And this Chitrakavacha had a daughter. This daughter was, her name was Malini. This Malini was married by her father Chitrakavacha to another Gandharva named Vitihotra. So Vitihotra and Malini became a wonderful couple, and they were living their life very beautifully in the Gandharva Loka. Sometimes, unfortunately, certain things happen in the heavenly abodes. Malini somehow, Gandharva Loka, surely high, heavenly abodes. Unfortunately, Malini was somehow attracted to a hunter. And when she was attracted to this hunter, Vitihotra, her husband, being a celestial being, understood this particular inclination of Malini. And Vitihotra, being disgusted, cursed her to be born amongst the hunter community. And this particular community of aborigines is called as Shabara. She cried pitiably in front of her husband and begged for forgiveness. Vitihotra, his heart immediately melted, and he said that, my dear wife, I can't change the spelled curse, but I bless you that in future Lord Ram and Lakshman will come to see you and they will deliver you. So this particular thing about being cursed and later being benedicted is being seen throughout the Shastras. In the Srimad Bhagavatam also, there are so many pastimes. Advantage is when a great personality, he curses also, his curse is also a blessing in disguise. So she was later eventually born amongst the Shabara community of the aborigines. And, what happens after that? When she was born there, how she comes to meet Matanga Rishi. So, she grew up in the Shabara Jati, Shabara community. As she was growing up, her age of marriage came. And when she was about to be married, she was not interested in marriage. So that night, when she was about to be married, she ran away, incognito. Nobody came to know where she ran away. And everyone was searching. Where is this girl? Nobody knew. And her name is not revealed, but she just ran away. And running far away in the forest, she came across a river. She crossed the river that night. And after crossing the river, she came on the other side. On the other side, she saw a beautiful hermitage. Guess what? Whose this was? Hermitage was of Matanga Rishi. And Matanga Rishi was served by his disciples over there. In the evening, it was the twilight hour. They were about to, wind up their duties. And when they were about to sleep, and she had seen all these things, she was very inspired. And she felt that, let me spend my time over here, rest of my life. This particular girl, eventually who is called as Shabari, she woke up early in the morning and cleaned the whole ashram, the outskirts of the ashram, because all of them were sleeping inside. She cleaned the whole courtyard and everything, the whole place which was there outside. And she again hid herself in the bushes. Early morning, when the disciples got up to do their morning duties and they were about to clean the ashram, when they saw the whole ashram was clean and they were surprised, how is it? They immediately went to Matanga Rishi, and Matanga Rishi suggested that find out who is it. Somebody might be hiding. And the actions are not improper. These are divine actions. This doesn't appear to be some demon who will throw a stool and urine in the places of where the rishis are staying. This is surely a divine personality. Find out who it is. And they immediately hidingly they search out, and in one of the bushes they find this girl. They call her and they take her to Matanga Rishi. And Matanga Rishi, being very pleased, she says that, please forgive me. He says, don't worry, you have not done anything wrong. You can stay here. She requests that, please give me shelter. She tells her history, and she was blessed by Matanga Rishi that you stay near the ashram. He gives her a place to stay, and he says that you stay here and perform this service of picking up flowers and etc. and cleaning the ashram and whatever little services she was given. Of course, Matanga Rishi offered her shelter. While living there, uh, time was passing. Eventually, Matanga Rishi, and she came here when she was quite young. Those days, marriages would happen almost around the age of 10. And when she served for many decades, And eventually Matang Rishi's time came. He told Shabari, this girl, that, my time has come to go to the heavenly abodes. I am going with my disciples ahead. This is another version that comes in this particular story. I am going ahead with my disciples. Please stay here. Your time has not yet come. One service of yours is remaining, and that is the service to Lord Ram and Lakshman. They will come here and they will bless you. And that is how you will achieve the perfection of your life. And Shabari, you know, uh, you know, cries and seeks the blessings of her guru. And Matang Rishi, along with his disciples, they all proceed to the heavenly abodes. Shabari remains behind, crying tears of separation from her spiritual master. She starts, every day, because she was now given an instruction by Shabari that Lord Ram and Lakshmana are going to come here to this particular ashram. You please keep this ashram clean every day. Clean it nicely, spread nice flowers, collect nice fruits and shrubs and nice fruits and everything, and keep it ready. Lord Ram and Lakshman will come any day, and one day you will achieve perfection. That day you will achieve perfection of your life. Very beautiful lesson that Shabari did not give up her hope. Shabari kept on doing this particular activity, being very simple at heart. She had not learned all those lessons that her guru's other disciples, they were learning all the shlokas and everything. She was humbly doing her simple chores throughout the day. And being so simple at heart, she kept doing this every single day, having received the instructions from the spiritual master. One day, your life will achieve perfection when Lord Ram and Lakshman comes. Very important lesson for us sadhakas, to do our sadhana given to us by our spiritual master on a daily basis. One day, we will achieve perfection. If we keep on doing this on a day-to-day basis, one day the Lord will reveal his identity from the holy name, Nama, Rupa, Guna, and Leela. These are the four stages explained in the Shastras by our acharyas, in which the Lord will reveal his pastimes. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, Abhinnatvam Nam Namina Nama Chintamani Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Abhinnatvam Nama Naminaha. There is no difference between the Lord's name and the Lord's pastimes. And one day, the Lord will reveal from his name his beautiful form. That is the first thing that gets revealed. And eventually, Nama, then Rupa, his form will be revealed. Then Guna, his beautiful qualities of compassion, his mercifulness, and his playfulness, and many other beautiful qualities will be revealed. And eventually, pastimes. And that's how we will be revealed the identity of the Lord, and the Lord will come to take us away from this material world back to his abode in the spiritual world, in his spiritual pastimes. Shabari eventually came across Lord Ram, and when Lord Ram came there, she was that simple girl. Every day, she would pluck seasonal fruits and seasonal flowers. And during this season, the season was, of the berries. And the Shabari ke bear, which we have heard about, she would pluck those berries. Now she had known that there are berries which are sour and there are berries which are sweet. And being simple at heart, she would every day bite those berries, because her understanding, her bhava was that I want to offer the best berries to the Lord. And she would eat them, taste the ones which were sour, she would throw them away, and the ones which were sweet, she would keep them nicely in a bowl made of those forest leaves. And she was waiting for Lord Ram to come. When Lord Ram comes there, she offered those sweet berries, and Lord Ram, understanding her bhava, accepts those fruits and blesses her, perfection of life. And she goes back, goes to the abode of her spiritual master. That's the story of Shabari, which all of us must have heard about. And that's the conclusion of the pastime. The lessons from this particular story, because without that, our classes should not get over. We should try to learn some lessons from this particular pastime, because without that, the pastime just remains a story, and we don't learn much. I shared something during our class discussion, but three very important lessons that we can learn from the pastime of Shabari. Lesson number one: blessings in disguise. We know that how uh, Shabari was cursed by her husband that you take birth amongst the Shabara Jati. And the curse of a Vaishnava or a sage or a great personality, it never goes in vain. Her husband, being a Gandharva, being of a great advanced personality, he had cursed his wife. But immediately she took shelter of her husband, seeking forgiveness for her mistake. Surely mistake was performed, but the mistake led to the mercy of the Lord. We see in the Bhagavatam, there are beautiful pastimes of similar incidences. Narada Muni, saw Nalakuvar and Manigriv in the 10th canto, who were, they had become Madandha, they had become Dhanandha, they had become Kamandha, blinded by wealth, blinded by pride, blinded by lust, because of being the sons of Kuvera. Nalakuver and Munigriv did not value the presence of even Narad Muni. And they were naked in the river, I guess Mandakini Ganga, with other ladies who immediately felt shy on the presence of Narad Muni's appearance. But they were so intoxicated, they did not even value the presence of Narad Muni. Narad Muni cursed him that you appear on the earthly planets as trees. And they immediately realized that they had committed a mistake, and Narad Muni blessed them that eventually Lord Krishna will appear, the supreme personality of Godhead. His pastimes are going to soon start, and he will be thus delivered. So we see Narad Muni cursed them, but Nalakuvar and Manigriv, eventually they got the perfection of their life. We see another incident in the Srimad Bhagavatam from Chitraketu Maharaj, the life of Chitraketu Maharaj, who had become one of the Siddhas, and eventually, he also appeared Siddhadhara, Siddhaloka. He was one of the Siddhas, and he also Vidyadhara, if I'm not wrong, Vidyadhara. And he also was flying in one of the airplanes with a lot of ladies around him, and he was being with the ladies. He was still absorbed in the pastime of the Lord. How these great personalities can do that? Very interesting. But he was singing the glories of the Lord, totally absorbed, and he saw Lord Shiva along with Parvati, and Parvati was sitting on Lord Shiva's lap, and he appeared to make a comment. Sometimes, Srila Prabhupada, in this particular section of the Srimad Bhagavatam, he takes the side of all three of them. He doesn't take side of any of them. So one time he takes the side of Chitraketu Maharaj, another time he takes the side of Shiva, another time he takes side of Parvati. None of them were wrong. But then we learn some lessons from this Chitraketu Maharaj. He passed a loose comment on a great personality of the stature of Lord Shiva. Reason being, both of them are devotee of Lord Sankarshan. And Chitraketu Maharaj, he passed a comment that, how is it that you're sitting among the great sages and, you're speaking on the principles of Vairagya? People who are your devotees, your disciples, they will follow in your example. And that's not good. That was his intention, but he did not spell it out. But Chitraketu Maharaj had always spoken that. He had laughed on Lord Shiva, and Parvati, being a chaste wife, she said, how can you speak something like this against my great husband? And Parvati cursed her. But her curse also did not go in vain. Chitraketu Maharaj became what is the name? Anybody? Vritrasura. Vritrasura. I'm so sorry. My Kaliyuga Buddhi, famous personality, Vritrasura. And Vritrasura was, he quickly, fought with Indra, and in a very short time, he achieved the abode of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada explains in that particular section that this whole incident was arranged by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the curse by Mother Parvati, so that Chitraketu Maharaj, who had now become a Vidyadhara, he had become little complacent, and Lord wanted his devotee to give up complacency, and you come back to my abode quickly. I am waiting for you, my devotee. And he arranged for this pastime of Vritrasura, and then quickly, he was pulled. And we see in Ramayana also, some time back before Shabari's deliverance, Ahalya, who had also committed a mistake and was cursed to become a stone, and by her husband Gautama Rishi, and she also received the blessing of Lord Ram. So yes, mistakes are committed, but if we are in a situation where we immediately seek forgiveness and shelter, we will be offered, provided we do the needful of taking shelter and seeking refuge. Why such a thing happens is because these great souls who are cursing, there is a famous proverb in Marathi. I don't know how many of you know Maharashtrian, but in Marathi there is a famous proverb which says, "Kavळ्याच्या शापाने गाय मरत नाही." So the famous proverb says that when a crow curses, a cow doesn't die. Basically, crow is a very lowly personality, and a cow is a very advanced body. A crow cannot curse a cow being a very divine animal. uh, you know it takes a great soul to also curse, the curse also to take effect. And because the great souls are transcendental to the three modes of nature, there it though it is either it is a blessing or a curse, both of them are in a transcendental realm, and that's how their curse also becomes a benediction. That is lesson number one. Lesson number two, so the lesson number one was blessings in disguise. Lesson number two from the life of Shabari is, of course, the understanding from Shabari is from the blessing in disguise that she was cursed by her husband, but then she eventually got the mercy of Lord Ram, association of Matanga Rishi. Another lesson, second lesson is humility attracts Lord's mercy. Shabari, when Lord Ram came in front of Shabari, when he came in front of Lord Ramchandra, she presented herself as, she was Malini, and she had received the association of Matanga Rishi. Surely some shlokas had fell on her ears, and she was not totally a foolish person. She was advanced devotee. But when Lord Ram came in front of her, she presented herself to be the most fallen. We see in the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 8th chapter, Kunti Maharani, one of the most advanced ladies, and in the teachings of Queen Kunti, the book written by Srila Prabhupada on, based on it's the book compiled by the devotees based on the lectures given by Srila Prabhupada in Nivrindavan community, the Bhagavad Dharma discourses. And Prabhupada gives that particular shloka, Tatha Paramahamsanam Muninam Amalatmanam Bhakti Yoga Vidanartham Katham Pashyemahi Striyah. How we, ladies can understand you, O Lord, who is the personality to be understood by great Paramahamsa devotees. She's Srila Prabhupada names that chapter the most intelligent woman, and she's presenting herself that I am the most fallen. So Kunti Maharani also presented herself as a very, very humble soul, and that attracted the Lord's mercy on her. We see in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sanatan Goswami and Rupa Goswami, when they appear in front of Lord Ramchandra, what do they say? Sanatan Goswami says, Ke ami kene amai jareta putra iha nahi jani kemane hita hai. I don't know who am I. People call me that you are a great Pandita. You know so many languages. You are so expert in the Shastrics understanding. But I don't know who am I. Why am I suffering the threefold miseries? If I don't understand this, how am I going to benefit myself? Now, Sanatan Goswami, we know that he was a very, very rich personality. He was literally the home minister, the third in the line of Nawab Hussain Shah. Nawab Hussain Shah would not appoint the second personality to be a Hindu, fearing that he may be killed by that person. So naturally, the third position in the ministerial order that was given to Sanatan and Rupa Goswami. But Sanatan Goswami, being so rich, and when he renounced the kingdom of, he renounced from his position and came to serve Lord Chaitanya. He had 7 boats filled with gold coins, And he's saying that I don't know who am I. He knew so many languages, almost 8 to 10 languages. Previously, he was born in the Saraswat Brahmana community. He was very, very smart, very, very intelligent, guiding so many people. And this personality is appearing in front of Lord, and he's saying so humbly, I don't know who am I. I'm a fool. This is the approach that Srila Prabhupada explains, that when we approach our spiritual master, we should be presenting ourselves to be great fools. Prabhupada clarifies that we should present ourselves to be fools, but not act foolishly. That means we should not do foolish activities. We should be acting smartly. But then, when we come in front of our spiritual master, we should know that whatever I know is by the mercy of the Lord. I don't know who am I. I don't know what is my identity. I know so many shlokas, but when it comes to the time of application, I cannot do that. So foolish I am. So this should be the humility of a devotee that Sanatana Goswami taught us, and even Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. My God, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, his book is going to be used by devotees for generations, 10,000 years at least during the golden age. And what does Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says when he receives the mercy of Lord Nityananda in the Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita? He says, Jagai Madhai Haite Muise Papishta. Purishera Kita Haite Muise Lagishta. He says, Jagai Madhai are better than me. I am lower than them. Even a Kita in the stool, an insect in the stool is better than me. We can't imagine what kind of humility this is. What is his understanding? Because Jagai Madhai, they never offended devotees. They are surely blessed by Lord Chaitanya just by their humility. This is their understanding. Purishera Kita Haite Moise Lakishta. It takes so much humility. I heard one great uh, spiritual master in our community. He said one time I had got loose motions and some problem in the stomach, and Ayurvedic doctor had given me some particular Ayurvedic herb, and I had taken those herbs. And one day when I had gone to pass a stool, this was somewhere in South India, somewhere in Kerala, Coimbatore, where he was living at that time, and going for the nature's call in the open air. He said, I looked behind, I saw one tapeworm who had come out from my excreta. And looking at him, I was feeling, he shares out of his humility that I felt that how is it that, I am still living happily, thinking myself relieved of this particular tapeworm who was living in my stomach. Vasudev Datta in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Madhya Leela, I guess chapter number 7, where it comes, Vasudev Datta, he is telling that, my dear Lord, so he had worms on his body. And when these worms would fall off, he would pick them up carefully so that they don't die. He would put them back on his body. He said, you have the same rights on this body like I have. I'm also Jiva, you're also Jiva. This body is meant for you also and me also, but for both of our sustenance. My God, so much humility. So this is the mood of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Puri Shera Kita Haite Moise Lagishta. I am lower than the worm in the stool due to my qualities. And further he says, Mora Nama Shune Ye Tara Punya Kshaya. Mora Nama Laya Ye Tara Papa Haya. He says, if you hear my name, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, if you hear my name, Tara Punya Kshaya, your Punya will get over. And if you take my name, you will commit a sinful activity. Wow. And we on and off, I'm taking the name of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Such an advanced devotee, but he is so humble. Such a humble devotee of Lord Chaitanya. Emane nigrina more keba kripa kare. Eka nityananda vinu jagata bhitare. There he says that Emane nigrina more. I am so abominable. Keba kripa kare. Who will shower his mercy upon me? I am so fallen. Eka Nityananda Vinu Jagata Pitari. That Lord Nityananda being so merciful, only he can shower his mercy on me. I am hopeless. So there is a beautiful saying that we have heard, a lesson, that when the rains fall on the top of the mountains, the waters do not remain on the top. They immediately flow downwards. Till which point? Till the lowest pothole, till the lowest hole in the ground. The water will keep flowing, keep flowing. They will not stop till it comes the lowermost hole in the ground. The lesson is that when we put ourselves into the most humble position, Lord's mercy will come to us most quickly. And that's why that famous song, which every day is sung in Sridham Mayapur, when the darshan of when the darshanarti of Lord Panchatattva opens, this is Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koro More Toma Bina Ke Doyalu Jagat Samsare पतित पावन हेतु तव अवतार मौसम पतिता प्रभु न पाई बेयार पतित पावन हेतु तव अवतार मौसम पतित प्रभु न पाई बेयार. This beautiful song, Narottam Das Thakur is saying that, I am the most fallen, my Lord. Your appearance is for the fallen. I am the most fallen. Here is the perfect match for you. Please shower your mercy on me. I deserve your mercy the first. And this was the mood shown by Shabari when she came in front of Lord Ramachandra. And that is how she could quickly attract the mercy of Lord Ram. And all of us, we should also be in the similar mood, right? Of Lord Ramachandra, of Shabari. That's the second lesson. And I guess we have 10 more minutes with us. I'll quickly share the third, one of the most important lessons. Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra Vigyena Bhujai. That's the third lesson. Lord Ram and Lakshman, when they came in front of Shabari, Shabari was offering the Jhute Bear. They did not mind seeing her activity of offering Jhuta Bear. They did not say, don't you know the rules of Pancharatrika worship? That one should not taste the food before, offering it to the Lord. When you're cooking in the kitchen, the DT kitchen, you should not taste whether the salt is there, whether it has come out nice. I have cooked this item for the first time. I remember during the Corona times, I was at Radha Kunja Bihari temple in the camp at ISKCON Pune. And I used to always wonder, I remember during those times, how foolish I was. I recollect now. I would every day cook a new sweet. That was my service, cooking Raj Bhog sweet for the deities. And I remember 28 days, I had made a list for myself, 28 or 30 days, every day a new sweet I tried to cook for the deities. And 28 or 30 varieties of sweet. I had kept the list also, but then later my phone got changed and I lost the list also. I don't even remember the items that I had cooked for the Lord, but I would really research a lot the earlier day, and I would ask my friends, friends who are equal to me, they would also help me with different items. You cook this and you cook that. And after the 30 days, I stopped because one senior devotee chastised me. He said, do you understand? When you are cooking sweets for the Lord, you're supposed to ensure that the sweet has been cooked to the best of its actual state. Because I was cooking the sweet first time, there would be mistakes. Sometimes the sweet would be it would not be crispy, or it would not be it would come out very soft, and it would become too hard. The Matajis in the class, they can understand that's not the way you're supposed to serve the sweet to the deities. That devotee told me, whatever item the best, cook that for the deities. And that was the stage when I became humble. But then Lord Ram and Lakshman did not say to Shabari that, don't you know the rules of Pancharatrika? You're not supposed to taste or even think about how the item is. The famous pastime from the Chaitanya Charitamrita of Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri had come to the temple of Lord Gopinath at Remuna. And at that time, he came to know that there is a very special, sweet that is offered. The sweet rice that is offered over here, Amrita Keli, and that is very, very special. And Madhavendra Puri, very interestingly, he just thinks that, if I just get to taste the sweet rice, I will cook the similar sweet rice for my Lord Gopal in Vrindavan. A very nice lesson that we can understand from this one statement is Madhavendra Puri is saying, I will taste the sweet rice and I will cook. He didn't say, I will approach the cooks and find out what is the recipe. What is the lesson? Just by tasting, he can understand what are the ingredients and how it was cooked. What a wonderful cook Madhavendra Puri is. That by tasting, he can know how it was cooked and he can cook it eventually for Lord Gopal. I was amazed to know when I heard it from very senior devotee about Madhavendra Puri's cooking expertise that we just understand from his one statement. But Madhavendra Puri, he felt so bad. He quickly realized that how can I think about tasting the sweet before it is even offered to the Lord? Madhavendra Puri quickly quits the temple after the aarti is over. I mean, the first part of the aarti is over. He did not wait for the kirtans to end. But Lord Gopinath, who was so enamored and enchanted by the devotion of his devotee, stole the sweet rice for him. And that's how Kirchor Gopinath and Madhavendra Puri became famous for eternality, for his sweet dealings with the Lord. Very beautiful lesson that one should not even think about the tasting. Think about tasting the sweet that is offered to the Lord or whatever is being cooked for the Lord. Let the Lord taste it. Let me offer my devotion to the Lord. Another famous incident that comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita about the pure devotional service of the devotees of the Lord is Raghav Pandit. Right? Madhya Leela 15th chapter, this particular incident comes where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally appreciates Raghav Pandit when he is sending off the devotees who had come from Bengal back to their places. And Raghav Pandit is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Raghava Pandita kahena vachana sarasa tomara shuddha preme ami hai tomara vasha. He says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, he speaks some sweet words towards Raghav Pandit. He says, I am obliged to you due to your pure love for me. What is the love of Raghav Pandit? Ihara Krishna Sevara Kathashuna Sarvajana Parama Pavitra Seva Ati Sarvottama. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, just hear about the pure devotional service rendered to Krishna by Raghav Pandit. Indeed, Raghav Pandit's service is supremely pure and accomplished. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains ahead. He says this particular devotee of Lord Krishna, he will every day offer different varieties of the Lord, of the sweets to the Lord. And amongst them is the famous coconuts. He says a coconut is sold at the rate of 5 gandas, which is one of the nomenclatures during those days. And although he already has hundreds of trees and millions of fruits in his area, he is still very eager to hear about the place where sweet coconuts are available. Lord Chaitanya says he collects coconuts with great endeavor from a place 20 miles away. And he pays 4 panas for each of them. Now, 20 gandas equals 1 pana. And he pays 4 panas for 1 coconut. And in 4 gandas, he can buy, how many? 5 gandas, he can buy 1 coconut in his locality. But he sends his people 20 miles away. Every day, he will buy 5 to 7 such coconuts. He will clip them from the top, keep it in a cool place. And during the time of offering, he will make a hole in it and offer to Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna, seeing this wonderful devotee's devotion, sometimes he will even drink from those coconuts. And then Raghav Pandit would come and he would see some coconuts are full, some coconuts are empty. Raghav Pandit would go in ecstasy. He would cut those coconuts, remove the pulp from it, put it in a plate and offer it to Lord again. How amazing. He would again go and put the plate in front of the Lord. And interestingly, Lord Krishna will eat that pulp. leaving the plate empty. And this increased the devotion of Raghav Pandit further and further, Shraddha of Raghav Pandit further and further. He would float in the ocean of love. But one day, what happened? That particular day, one servant, he had brought these coconuts from 20 miles away. He was waiting because the offering time was yet to come. He was standing on the door, and while standing, as usual, we'll recline ourselves to whatever is available. He touched on the roof, and when he touched the roof, he brought the hand back and again touched the coconut. Raghav Pandit saw this action and he said, "How could you do like this? People are always coming and going through the door. The dust from their feet blows up and touches the ceiling. And after touching the ceiling above the door, you have touched these coconuts. Now they are no longer fit to be offered to Krishna because they are contaminated." And amazingly, Srila Prabhupada in his purport, he says, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur states, Raghav Pandit was not simply a crazy fellow suffering from some cleansing mania. He said he was not some crazy fellow. Arey, kuch to gadbad ho gaya to turant naake aao, something like that. No, he was a very sane personality. He did not belong to the mundane world, as Srila Prabhupada says. He says, in lower consciousness, accepting something to be spiritual when it is actually material is called, he says, Bhauma Ijjati. But Raghav Pandit was Krishna's eternal servant. And he wanted to offer the best to the deities. Right? So this is what is the epitome of offering to the Lord. But in today's pastime of Shabari, we heard the exact opposite. Shabari is offering her jhuta, what to speak of thinking in the mind or touching some other place. This is the epitome of, gadbad that one can do in, Pancharatrika Vidhi. So the temple rule is simple, that whatever we offer to the deities, it has to be, it has to be completely pure. In fact, when we offer something to the deities, when we carry the bhoga plate in front of the deities, it is covered from all the sides, so that nobody even sees what is being carried in the plate. Say sometimes there is samosas or gulab jamuns or some special item like that. Immediately mouth will start watering. Even thinking of that, mouth starts watering. When it be offered to the deities, and when will I get to taste it? Somebody might think like that. So the rules are quite strict while serving the deities. That how we are supposed to offer. So there are a lot of rules. One has to be in the clean clothes and clean state of mind, clean state of body, and by chanting the mantras, the Bhuta Shuddhi prayers, 24 Achmans, and in the mood of serving the Lord, we come in front of the Lord and offer this the bhoga. So surely there is a need for Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, of course, in this purport, he says that we cannot imitate the bhav of exalted Vaishnavas. That's why there is a need for training and education in the devotee circles at different levels. Surely for younger devotees, younger lessons; for advanced devotees, advanced lessons. And we have been blessed by the purports of Srila Prabhupada, the Bhaktivedanta purports. By reading his books, we can learn what are those lessons. So surely we cannot imitate the pastime of Shabari. Her devotion was, her bhava was very, very advanced. She had bhava bhakti to the Lord, bhava purna bhakti to the Lord. But there is a beautiful lesson that we can learn from this, that there is a shloka that comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita where it says, Murkho vadati Vishnaya, dhiro vadati, Chaitanya Bhagavata, Murkho vadati Vishnaya, dhiro vadati Vishnave, ubayostu samam punyam bhavagrahi janatana. The Lord say, this particular shloka says that Murkho vadati Vishnaya. Sometimes when we say Krishna, when we chant his name in the mantra, we say Krishnaya Namaha. Krishna becomes Krishnaya Namaha. So somebody may say Vishnu will become Vishnaya Namaha. No, it doesn't. It is not Vishnaya, it is Vishnave Namaha. So Murko vadati Vishnaya, Dhiro vadati Vishnave. A foolish person who doesn't have the understanding of grammar. So Lord is not grammar grahi Janardana. It says Lord is not Ucharan grahi Janardana. He is not Sanskrit grahi, Dhana grahi, Saundarya grahi, Bala grahi. He is none of these. He is Bhava grahi Janardana. Lord accepts the bhav of the devotee. I remember one senior devotee was sharing with me that he had gone to Sridham Mayapur, And in Mayapur, when he was sitting in the temple hall, in the Panchatattva hall, and he was chanting Hare Krishna. And while he was chanting with full absorption, one devotee came and sat next to him, and he was chanting Hare Krishna. And while he was chanting Hare Krishna, he was pronouncing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Lama, Lama Lama, Hare. And immediately this devotee, he saw that somebody, he could feel that somebody came and sat next to me and he's chanting Hare Krishna. So he opened his eyes and he said, my dear Prabhu, it's not Hare Krishna, it is Hare Krishna. And this devotee said, I'm sorry. Actually, I come from China. And in our local language, Mandarin, he says, there is no pronunciation of R. We don't have the R only in our alphabet. We have L. So from childhood, I don't have the habit of pronouncing R. And, he says, I'm just chanting Hare Krishna. And while he was speaking like this, he was explaining his son, his daughter, and his wife, dressed in, his daughter was dressed in the gopi dress, and his son was dressed in, this beautiful kurta and dhoti. His wife was in sari, and they had all put, Vaishnava tilak on their head, all Chinese. And this devotee was sharing that, wow, they're not even chanting Hare Krishna, they're chanting Hare Krishna. And the Hare Krishna has so much power. Just see, the Lord is such a bhavagrahi that the Lord is accepting the devotion, the mood of these devotees, and he has blessed them. Their complete habits have been transformed, and they are practicing Krishna consciousness in such a beautiful way. So we should not forget that the ingredient when we offer anything to the Lord is bhakti bhava. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9.26, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti uparidam. 2 times Krishna in this particular shloka, he says bhakti, bhakti. I accept bhakti. I do not accept the food. So while we are offering bhoga to the deities, one has to take care of all the details. At the same time, one most important thing that we should remember while we are offering to the bhoga is at the end, I am simply a servant of my spiritual master. I cannot approach the Lord directly. I offer the bhoga by first chanting the prayers to the spiritual master, to Srila Prabhupada, and then to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then Lord Gauranga. The understanding is that I remember my Guru. I am praying to my Guru, my dear Lord. In the Gaudiya line, I'm praying to my spiritual master, my dear spiritual master, please accept this bhoga and offer it to your spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. And the spiritual master will offer that bhoga to his spiritual master, and that's how in the line it will reach Srimati Radharani. And Radharani will feed that bhoga to Krishna, and return we will get the mercy, the prasad of the Lord. So when we chant the Pranati mantra to the spiritual master, we say, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale. This beautiful word, Krishna Presthaya Bhutale, means one who is most dear to the Lord on this planet. Right? And how did the spiritual master become so dear to the Lord? How did he get this most cherished, unfathomable position? I'm going to conclude with this, that this particular lesson, that since he has so sincerely and so steadfastly served his spiritual master, we see in the life of Srila Prabhupada that how he has served Krishna in such amazing ways. When Srila Prabhupada, when he came to New York, he suffered with 2 heart attacks and eventually one more heart attack when he was there, I guess in New York only or San Francisco, one of the places. And when he was in the US, he did not have any friends. He did not have any money in dollars, only 40 rupees, which nobody will, exchange for in those days in the 1966, 65. He did not have any luxuries that he would easily get in India. No proper weather. It was too cold. No proper food. He had to, stay with people who are living contaminated lives. There is one place where he writes in his diary that in New York, there is so much cold and I don't even have proper winter wear. And before that, the entire, the first volume of Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, written by Satsvarup Das Goswami Maharaj, is entitled as a lifetime in preparation. So much hard work that Srila Prabhupada went through to establish ISKCON, to give us what he is giving, right? But then eventually, Srila Prabhupada, he had such wonderful dealings with their lordship Shri Radha and Krishna. I heard of so many beautiful incidences. Srila Prabhupada, he installed Radha and Krishna in the storefronts. He installed Radha and Krishna in one altar, and Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra in the altar above that. We have never seen, we cannot even imagine such kind of altars. He had such wonderful ways of doing prana pratishta. No prayers, only the initial prayers of our prema dhvani, of our prayers that we chant in the beginning of the class. When there was no panchadeep available, he would ask the devotees, please get a candle, and he would offer candle like this. And everyone would offer candle. One devotee in one particular temple in the west, he was so fed up with his practice of bhakti. He said, I'm leaving. And he found one new person. He caught him. He said, you stand here, it's the time for worshipping of the Lord. You take this lamp and one item of from these places, and you offer it to the deities. And and he left. And this person, he stood there and he took the item. The first item was deep. He took the deep and started offering the deep. But then while he was offering the deep, this guy was thinking, I forgot to ask him for how much time you're supposed to offer. So he was not knowing how much time to offer. He kept rotating, half an hour, 1 hour. And then he felt, I guess then the lamp was over. The lamp was completely finished. He kept it aside. And then he took the next item. And that's how the first guy, who was completely unaware of, Srila Prabhupada installed Radha and Krishna, Gaur Nitai, in such places. Srila Prabhupada, I guess in Australia, he told the deities, please take care of yourself. My disciples don't know how to serve you. And I don't have time to remain here and teach them how to serve you. They are neophytes. You please take care of yourself. And Srila Prabhupada left, leaving Radha Krishna to these people who were completely unaware of. In one of the beautiful, I guess, one of the letters, Srila Prabhupada gave instructions to his disciples. Sell Gaur Nitai deities like dolls. My God, can you imagine? Serving Gaur Nitai? And what is Srila Prabhupada's understanding? Srila Prabhupada's understanding is they are very, very merciful. Even if you just sit in front of them, you don't need to offer worship also. You just sit in front of them and chant Hare Krishna. They will bless you. Even if you don't chant Hare Krishna in front of them, just bow down in front of them. They will bless you. Wow. And Srila Prabhupada said, even if they don't come to temple, you take Gaur Nitai deities like dolls and give it to people. Eventually, Gaur Nitai will teach them how to worship them. So, of course, we can't imitate. Now we know. But Srila Prabhupada gave such instructions. What miraculous dealings. Srila Prabhupada kept Radha Damodar on a bus. And Radha Damodar bus party started. But amazing reciprocation of Krishna. What was Krishna's reciprocation? Krishna's reciprocation was, okay, my dear Prabhu, you want me to remain in these places? I am your obedient servant. That's all response was of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada kept Radha and Krishna in that shack in Bombay. He said, my dear Lord, you please remain here. In this shack, in the heat of Bombay, where it's all the time sweating, and you can find so many wonderful things in the book by Srila Giriraj Maharaj in the Juhu story. And and what is the response of Krishna? My dear Prabhu, I'm ready to become your obedient servant. In that beautiful song, Markine Bhagavad Dharma, Srila Prabhupada writes, Nachao, nachao, nachao se mate, kashtir puttali jatha nachao se mate. Srila Prabhupada is praying to Lord Krishna, my dear Lord, please make me dance, make me dance. Oh Lord, make me dance. Accept me as the puppet in your hands. and make me dance. A puppet doesn't have any freedom. The puppet just agrees to dance as per the will of its master. In today's purport, 9th canto, 11th chapter, we discussed, Srila Prabhupada writes, Ye yathamam prapadyante tam sathaiva bhajamyaham. As you deal with me, I reciprocate accordingly. At one level, we can understand this particular shloka, that if you love Krishna, Krishna will love you in return. And if you consider Krishna to be a stone, Krishna will consider you to be a stone. If you think Krishna to be headless, handless, legless, formless, as the Mayavadis say, Krishna will think you also to be similarly. He will say, you are also headless, you are also legless, handless, headless, formless, everything. But at a higher level, Srila Prabhupada is teaching a beautiful lesson. Srila Prabhupada wanted to be a puppet in Krishna's hand. And see Krishna's honesty. Krishna is becoming a puppet in his devotees' hands. Krishna is agreeing to be put him, agreeing to his devotees' will, put me in any place. I am ready to live there. Okay, 64 rounds is difficult. Oh, forget. I said, Statatam Kirtayanto Mam, chant 24 hours. My another devotee, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, made it 64. You want it to be 16? I will accept. 16 rounds se Bhagavad Mana. No problem. I'll take them back to God. That is your qualification. I'll accept that as a qualification. So Srila Prabhupada made Krishna a puppet is in his hands. So of course, how did Srila Prabhupada reach this level? How did Shabari reach a level to offer her jhuta to the Lord? We can see these are all advanced devotees. Neither Srila Prabhupada, neither Shabari are personalities whom we can imitate. Of course, there are three words. One is called as what is that? Imitating, anukraman, then anuvarnan, and third is anusmaran. Anukraman is imitating. Better than that is anushravan, hearing from them and following their instructions. And higher than that is anusmaran, because they are neither imitable, neither instructable. You can't even follow in their lotus feet. They are anusmaran. You can just worship their level of advancement. The famous example of that is the gopis. Famous example of that is Raghunath Das Goswami. Anusmaran, they are just vandaniya, they are just worshipable. You can't even follow the example of Raghunath Goswami, who just would take 3 drops of buttermilk in 3 spoons, I guess, 3 spoons of buttermilk in 3 days. We can't even follow their example. We can't even because the lesson is that we can try to follow in their instructions. So these personalities are all PhD levels, and to go from the initial stage of entering into the school to PhD takes at least a couple of decades. So by following in the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti teachings that is given to us by Srila Prabhupada, surely one day, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we will cross from one grade to the next, and eventually we will reach the PhD. So Shabari teaches us a lesson of those, perseverance that she has gone through to reach this level of perfection. Srila Prabhupada has taught us in his books, how do we also reach from Ado Shraddha eventually to perfection of Prema. At the stage of Bhava Bhakti, we can offer such devotion to the Lord. But till then, we have to follow the teachings of the books that are given to us by Srila Prabhupada in his books. And one day, we will also be able to bind Krishna in our love, where Krishna will agree to follow our instructions. That is the reason Krishna doesn't give bhakti so easily. But there's a beautiful song that our Vaishnava Acharya sings. Vraje prasiddham navanita chauram gopangananam chadukula chauram aneka janmarjita papa chauram chauragraganyam purusham namami. That there is a famous thief in Vrindavan who steals butter who steals difficulties from the life of his devotees and who steals the hearts of his devotees. And the famous one is Srimati Radharani. He is a thief. That Lord is a thief. But then, towards the end of this particular song, in the 7th and 8th paragraph, he says, this particular devotee in his devotion, he says, "Oh dear, oh my dear Lord, oh stealer of my everything, oh thief, today I have imprisoned you in my heart, which is miserable prison house, which is fearful due to the terrible darkness of ignorance. Now I'm going to keep you captured over there for a very long time, receiving appropriate punishment for your crimes of thievery. That is, you stole my heart." And then he says, "Oh Krishna, who is the thief of my everything, the noose of my devotion remaining forever tight, you will continue to reside in the prison house of my heart, because I will not release you for millions of aeons." So a devotee will eventually come to that stage, of course, gradually, eventually. So by practicing the lessons given to us by Srila Prabhupada, by hearing the pastimes of Lord Krishna, of Lord Ramachandra, and their devotees, their exalted devotees, and chanting the holy name, the process given to us by Srila Prabhupada, 16 rounds every day, sincerely, taking association of the devotees, reading the books, honoring prasadam, and engaging ourselves 24 hours in the service of the Lord, dedicating our lives. One day, we will also be able to reach this stage of Shabari, whose lessons and life that we discussed today. I'm extremely sorry. I really went over time. I was not supposed to. Nimai Karuna Prabhu, Ramachandra Prabhu, please forgive me, and all the Vaishnavas, that I took so much of your time. It's time for rest, I'm sure, there in New Jersey. And I literally spoiled your sleep today. Please forgive me for my so-called foolish blabbering. Please pray for me and please bless me that I can also apply this in my life and become a devotee, where I can be a jewel in the neck of my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, and not be a blemish. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai Jai. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It was very, very sweet, and we just wished that you would just continue speaking, and
Hare
so
Krishna.
nectarian. You just
Hare-
shared so much. Yeah, I mean, I'll just very quickly summarize what I
Oh my
got from
God,
this.
you're going to summarize the class. You will say, "Arey, bas karo."
Maybe I'll just maybe take 30 seconds and just
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, Prabhu, like you said, that Shabari did not give up hope. It was the biggest thing. I mean, she very nicely embodied this quality of dhairya. Yeah, reading the nectar of instruction, that utsahan nishchaya dhairya. So she was very, very patient, and she patiently waited for the Lord to come and bestow his mercy. So yeah, and she presented herself as very, very humble, in spite of being a Gandharva in her past life, and in spite of having the association of Matanga Rishi. So yeah, it's a very, very important quality that we should all try to cultivate. And last but not the least, as you mentioned, that she was a very, very elevated devotee, and that we should not try to imitate, but we should try to walk into the footsteps of such great devotees. And as long as we stay consistent in our sadhana, as they say, that we are all kacha aam trying to become pakka aam, but as long as we stay connected to the tree, which is the books of Srila Prabhupada and the association of devotees, we can expect to receive the Lord's mercy. So yeah, thank you very much again, Prabhuji. I'll just quickly take about maybe another 30 seconds to just share the upcoming programs that we have at our center. That is okay, Prabhuji.
Oh, yes, please. I'm sorry. I thought. Please go ahead, Rohit.
So yes, this coming Sunday we have His Grace Simheshwar Prabhu speaking on the Bhagavad Gita 9.14 at our center, ISKCON of Bergen County. And every morning from 6 to 8 we have our daily morning japa calls headed by Jadropati Mataji. So please feel free to tune in. We have Bhagavad Gita reading from 12 p.m. to 12:15 p.m., which is headed by Gopal Govind Prabhu. So it is from every Monday to Friday. And then we have our weekly Bhakti Vrikshas. There's multiple Bhakti Vrikshas going on, one in Parsippany and many more in the Bergen County area. So if you're not connected to any Bhakti Vriksha, please get in touch with Ramchandra Prabhuji. And yes. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Devotees, and yeah, it's coming Thursday, not to miss, is Ram Navami. So yes, we have a nice celebration planned at the center. So please share this message with your friends, with your family, and make it a point to join. Right. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to raise your hands or type in the chat box. You have some time, Prabhuji, to take some questions? Maybe.
We have just begun our day, so I could spare a few minutes, but in case anybody wishes, they could ask. Otherwise, yeah, okay.
Okay, so we have one question in the chat box. I'll read it out. When a senior points out our mistake, all the humility goes out of the door. Although we know that the senior is my well-wisher, how can I continue to remain humble in such situations and not let my ego hurt?
Thank you for that question. When we see our senior as a well-wisher and seeing that he is not my he wants me to progress in Krishna consciousness, it becomes very easy. Of course, there are different types of seniors. There are seniors who are personally guiding us, who are our shiksha gurus, who are counselors. They are guiding us. It becomes easy from them. But somebody who is our authority may not be a senior. It becomes a bit difficult. And that is where we need to remember the third shloka from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishna. Regularly remembering this shloka and the benediction that we get in return, that is Kirtaniya Sadahari, we will be able to practice this. Yes, even I am not at the level where it becomes easy to accept feedback or corrections. Sometimes it becomes difficult to accept from superiors, but then it becomes even more difficult when it comes from a equal, even more difficult when it comes from a junior, when the corrections or the feedbacks come. But then by regularly remembering this particular shloka, we shall be able to cross over. I think that is nice. Say on it.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Yes, that answers the question. Yeah. Sankari Kurmataji, please go ahead. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for such a beautiful, wonderful class. It was really nectarian, as Ram Prabhu said. Every bit of it was very, very nice. Prabhu, you mentioned during the class that Shabari gave her jute wares to Ramji and Lakshmanji, but they did not mind it. I've heard before that Lord Ram was absolutely okay with the wares, but Lakshmanji actually was not. And he eventually did not end up eating those bears. Only Lord Ram accepted those bears. So what does our Valmiki Ramayana says, or how to reconcile, or if my understanding is wrong?
Yeah. I was fearing that particular point because in my recollections of preparation, I did not come across this particular incident. But at the same time, as I said before, neither Valmiki Ramayana, neither Ramcharitmanas, this offering of Jhuta bear comes. So it's the Loka Katha. In the local area, they quote this particular pastime. Local area, not in the southern India, but in the northern India, where Ramcharitmanas and everything is being spoken. I remember seeing this particular incidence in Ramananda Sagar's Ramayana. So that is the reference where this particular pastime is. So we don't know the reality behind it. Yet at the same time, we can say that Lakshman, how to reconcile, we can surely say that Lakshman, being the Adi Guru, is teaching a lesson that he did not appreciate, to teach us, the jivas who are trying to be disciples, a lesson that we should not be offering like that. But at the same time, Lord Ramachandra is teaching that I accept the bhava of my devotee. I think that's how we can simply reconcile. because of not having lack of references. I'm sorry, I can't. Just share something.
And that's a wonderful way to look at it, Guruji. It was really nice. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, and thank you, Prabhu, for that nice answer.